Hello and welcome back to the Fake Sports League, where it's all statistics and no substance. I'm your host, Kenny Fisher, and we are staring down the barrel to the end of the regular season. Playoffs on the way. These next few games are going to be critical in deciding who is in and who is out. As always, make sure you get tapped into the FSL Discord, link in the description below, for any and all player injury updates and news. We've got another great round of matchups for you. A lot of great stories budding already. The Tide and Comets having themselves a pretty great season so far. Sharks and Knights are kind of entering that second tier. Sharks down 2 in a row after going 4-0 to start the season, looking for a bounce back there. Dragons and Knights still very much in this one. Flame, another emerging candidate for the playoffs. Mystics starting to find a rhythm late, but it will be these next few games that are the most critical in deciding who is in and who is out of that 16 playoff. All right, we got a good one here. Marcus Evans and the Sharks taking on the 2-4 Rebels at home. This Rebels team, 2 wins on the season, but do not let that fool you. They have been dominating the statistical battle. They've just been coming out on the wrong end of some of these closer matchups. The Sharks are a tough team and a tough environment to play in, but I would expect the Rebels to put up a bit of a fight here. They moved Philip Bayless, their talented rookie, into that number 2 position. He's been really thriving there as of late. The question on everyone's minds is Boris McLean enough to handle Marcus Evans? McLean back into the lineup after a extensive injury. Glad to see he's back and okay. But that is the matchup that I'm certainly most interested in seeing. All right, it's time to get things going. 45 on the clock, starting now. And quickly, it's Marcus Evans who's on the board first for the Sharks. 1-1 now. Philip Bayless ties it up, and Stephon Fitzsimmons gets it right back to him. But Archie Nelson takes it back and passes it out to Daryl Bates, who scores off of it. 2-2 now. The Rebels starting to get a little bit of rhythm going on offense. It's going to be a bit of a defensive battle here. 2 turnover for Stephon Fitzsimmons, but it's Daryl Bates and Max Peterson going back and forth to make it 3-3. 4-3 now. The Sharks with Daryl Bates getting into a rhythm here. Marcus Evans and Alki held to 1 point between the two of them. It's tied up with 10 seconds to go. 4-5 now. 5-5 with 5 seconds remaining. The Rebels find a bit of a seam here as their defense is churning out turnovers here, and 5-7 will be the final score of that one. And it's 3 turnovers from Stephon Fitzsimmons, 2 turnovers from Alfred Blair, and a balanced attack on offense. They get it done for the Rebels. 3-4 on the season, and the Rebels now starting to find themselves in a bit of a dark horse position for the playoffs. The Sharks now drop to 4-3 after starting out 4-0 on the season. It's time now for the Red Pandas and Phantoms, 2 teams that have found themselves in a bit of a struggle early on. 1-5 the Phantoms on the road at 2-4 Pandas. Despite the record, Joey Spencer and Clayton Harrington have been fantastic this season, but you could say the same about Jared Kelly and his Phantoms defense. Both these teams on their heels, and this matchup is going to be vital for both of them as they try to climb back into that playoff conversation. 45 on the clock, and we start things out with Isaac Forrester. 1 point for the Red Pandas. Mike Mickle now on the board for the Phantoms. It's 1-1. Kelvin Rodriguez with a turnover for the Phantoms, but Rudolph Lowe gets it right back for the Red Pandas, and Isaac Forrester scores again. It's 2-1, 2-2 with 25 seconds remaining. The Phantoms with a bit of a lead here, 2-3 now. A defensive battle, 2-4, and the Phantoms keeping the Red Pandas at an arm's reach on the road. 3-5, the score stands, a 2-point lead for the Phantoms, but the Red Pandas trying to cut into it. 6 seconds remaining, under 10 to go. 4-7, the Phantoms have found that seam, and they score another right at the last second. 4-8, the score stands. 4 points for Octavio Britton, 4 points for Isaac Forrester, but call it the commentators' curse. Joey Spencer and Clayton Harrington, not a single point between the two of them. Both these teams head to the locker room 2-5 on the season, and every game from here on out is going to be life and death for them. It is time to take things to the tower. Mystics hosting the Tide here. Both these teams having a bit of a resurgence here as of late. 4-2, the Tide stand atop the leaderboards. Mystics at 3-3, very much still in this conversation. The story of the day, it's an all-rookie lineup for the Tide up against some veterans in Percy Willis and Burl Packer. Will that home field advantage and the veteran presence aid the Mystics, or will it be the firepower of the unknowns, these talented rookies who have been putting up numbers all season for the Tide? 45 on the clock, and we start things out a bit slow here. Audrey Becker first to get it away, and out to Dwayne Sullivan, who scores. Tide on the board, 1-1 now. Percy Willis on the board for the Phantoms, but 1-2, 1-3. The Tide starting to take a bit of a lead here. 2-4, the Tide keep the Mystics at an arm's reach. Percy Willis with 2 points, but Brett Romero and Dwayne Sullivan match with 2 points apiece. Percy Willis doing everything himself today. 3-4, 3-5, under 20 to go. The Tide just keeping this game right where they want it. 4-6, the score stands with 10 seconds remaining. Brett Romero and Dwayne Sullivan both accounting for 3 points apiece, and Lamar Brown is first on the board late in the game, and it will be the final. 4-8, the Tide win it in a blowout on the road. 2 turnovers for Audrey Becker, 2 turnovers for Courtney Fowler, 3 points for Brett Romero, and all of the Tide first-rounders are doing exactly what they need to be doing. 5-2, and the Tide are in a very good position looking ahead to the playoffs. Mystics just got to regroup and shake that one off. 2 turnovers from Burl Packer, 3 points from Percy Willis. They're doing what they need to do come game day, but they just got to get their squad on the same page. You need a little more out of the young guys to keep them in this one. And we bring things out to the pond where the Frogs host the Flame. 2-4 and 4-2 respectively. The Flame have really turned it on as of late, and a lot of it due to Xavier King, the talented vet, former Dragon on this squad. Got a little bit overlooked out of fall camp, buried on the depth chart, but through a couple key injuries, he had his shine, and he has earned his spot now. He is the number 2 guy for the Flame. With Jorge Silva and Kevin Welch holding down the defense, this Flame offense has been able to open up the game and really do whatever they want. But with DeAndre Boyd out for the Frogs, it's going to be Ronnie Lamb, the rookie, to hold down that defensive front. Meanwhile, Percy Pena and Drew Park got to get it done on offense. Fabian Hills has also been a bit of a contributor as of late, finding his way into the starting lineup after a couple key injuries on the Frog side. 45 on the clock, and we start things out a bit slow here. Alan Norman scores for the Flame first, but Percy Pena ties it right back up. It's 1-1. And Michael Neal for the Frogs gets it right back to him. Can they capitalize on this possession? They can. Percy Pena on the board again. It's 2-1, 2-2 now. Alan Norman doing it all for the Flames so far, but the Frogs are just up one more. 2-point lead for the Frogs, and we are under 20 seconds to go. 4-2, the score stands. Drew Park, 3 points for Drew Park today, 2 points for Percy Pena, and 3 turnovers for Michael Neal. This one could be ugly. It's a 3-point lead. There's 5 seconds remaining. 2-1, and time will run out. 5-3, the Frogs' victory at home, and they needed that one. That will instill a bit of confidence in this fan base. 2 wins after 6 games is a little bit tough to swallow, but that third win gets them right back into the playoff conversation. Exactly what they needed, a defensive battle, but Michael Neal comes up in a big way when DeAndre Boyd goes down for the season. All right, we take things now to the Wolves' den, where the Dragons find themselves on the road. 2-4, Los Lobos stand in their rankings. 3-3 are the Dragons. Both these teams have playoff hopes, but their playoff journey will be a lot more clear after this one. Key to the game here, Rolando Johnson, Adrian Mitchell, 2 extremely talented rookies on this Los Lobos offense, going up against Dwayne Wells and Tobias Fonseca, probably the best defensive duo in the league. I would predict that whoever can win that matchup between the Los Lobos offense and the Dragons defense will have the clear path to victory in this one. 45 on the clock, starting now. And Adrian Mitchell, quick to strike for Los Lobos. They're on the board first. And it's 2 points for Los Lobos, not boding well for this Dragons defense. Finally, Tobias Fonseca gets something going for him. But it's Rolando Johnson with Los Lobos up by 2, 3-2 now. Francesco Sage scores again for the Dragons, and they're starting to crawl back into this one. And it's 3-3, Corey Jolly. 2 points for Corey Jolly. The Dragons with the first lead of the night, but it's 4-4. Los Lobos tie it up. We're under 20 to go. 5-4, Adrian Mitchell with 4 points. Tobias Fonseca with 2 turnovers. It's tied up. Could we see overtime here? There's 5 seconds remaining. 5-5, the score stands, and it will be. It's Corey Jolly that scores at the last second, and the Dragons take the game in regulation. 5-6, 4 points for Adrian Mitchell, but it's not enough. A 3-point game from Corey Jolly and 2 points for Francesco Sage seal it for the Dragons. And the Dragons will progress to 4-3 on the season. A strong performance from Dwayne Wells and Tobias Fonseca. 2 turnovers for Tobias Fonseca, which is a strong performance after allowing 4 points from Adrian Mitchell. Just a high volume there. But the Dragons handle Los Lobos on the road, 4-3 on the season, and the playoff hopes still on the horizon. It is time now for our game of the week. It's the Knights and the Comets, and what a journey the Comets team has taken. Really, if you look at the context of them, both these teams have really turned their franchises around, and both of them are fighting for a top spot in the FSL today. Max Adams has been electric for the Comets. He's going up against the Defensive Player of the Year, Benny Bronk, today. Knights' Quinn McHugh, the Offensive Player of the Year, going up against Elvin Noriga. And both these teams are stacked all the way down. 45 on the clock. And we start things off quickly here. Quinn McHugh on the board for the Knights, but Max Adams from the Comets strikes back just as fast. 2 points now for Max Adams, and it's 1-2 on the scoreboard. The Comets now starting to get a bit of a moat. The Comets now starting to get into a bit of a rhythm. 3 points for the Comets, 4 points for the Comets, 1-4. Could this game get out of hand? We did not expect this out of the Knights. Floyd Fuller stops the bleeding and keeps the lead at 2. Under 20 to go. 3 points now for the Knights, and they are right back in this one. I thought this game was over, but the Knights tie it up. It's 2 points for Quinn McHugh, 2 points for Floyd Fuller, and 4-4 the score stands. 5 seconds remaining. The Comets get out to a 1-point lead, but the Knights stay lockstep with them. Can we see overtime? The Comets now finish the game. 3 points for Max Adams, 2 points for Sammy Swanson, and 1 point for Manuel Cook. Just when I thought the Knights were done, they came all the way back, but the Comets finished on the road. A 6-1 record, and the Comets are your #1 team in the FSL. 3 points for Quinn McHugh, 2 for the rookie Floyd Fuller. But this Knights team has to show a bit more consistency. They got down on the road early, and they had to fight all game to climb out of that hole. You got to play your best game the whole game, but they took the #1 team in the FSL to a 1-point victory on the road. Let's take a look at your standings here. Tied sit alone on top of the ISC, 5-2, and if they win out, they will take that first round bye. Dragons and Flame in good position to get that second spot in the playoffs, and if either of them can finish #2 in the conference, they will get that spot in that 6-team roster. Mystics and Frogs still very close behind, and to be honest, Los Lobos is not out of this yet. Over on the FSC, a little bit more dramatic. The Comets, a 2-game lead over anybody else. They are just moments away from clinching a playoff spot. Knights and Sharks right behind them. The Rebels still have a dark horse shot at 3 and 4 again. It's going to be the top 2 teams from each conference, and then the next 2 at large. So we could see 4 teams from the FSC make it, but to be honest, all of these conference games are going to mean that much more. We still have plenty of games to be played, but this playoff picture is starting to become clearer and clearer day after day. Who do you have in your 6-team playoff lineup? Let me know in the comments below. I am dying to know. And jump in with us in the Discord. We'll be talking about this all day. Game 8 coming out tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right here at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all for tuning into this one. This has been an official broadcast of the FSL.